Hello, Dr. L here. I'm making this video to say a few words about the situation the world is in right now. When the coronavirus first started in January, well, it became known in January, I started following it on my day trading forecast site, and I realized that this virus could turn into a pandemic. The reason I was worried about pandemics is that I am married to a wonderful woman, Nancy, who is a nurse. She's a pediatric nurse, and she worked at Kaiser Permanente, retired about 10 years ago. But while she was working, at one point she was in charge of an infectious disease department. And because she was a good student of her profession, she had read up on everything to do with infectious diseases. And I became educated about the 1918 pandemic. And I remember Nancy telling me something that really stuck with me. She said that pandemic was nothing. If we have one now, it'll be worse because of air travel. In 1918, we moved people around with ships, not with airplanes. Her words were very profound, and now we've seen the result. And a lot of people are now sitting at home worried about what's going to happen. This is a time of immense fear. Now, I have some experience with fear. I'm a combat veteran from Vietnam. I was shot at, nearly died several times. But then as a trader, you learn that your biggest enemy is fear, because you make mistakes because of fear. But I also have been a student of nature. My work in the markets is based upon the simple observation that we live in a natural world. My book, Your Electric Life, describes the electric universe that we all live in. And we indeed live in an electric universe. Now, I've realized that there are actually three worlds. There's a natural world, and just think of the first peoples on every continent. I've read up and studied on them. And on this continent, I was very fortunate. I grew up next door to a Sioux Indian family. They were the first peoples on this continent. Because of that, I've been very interested in how they approached life and what kind of societies they built. Same with the Aboriginals in Australia and Russia and throughout the world. The original peoples learned to live on the world that the Creator provided. And they did it for centuries. I like to go to the mountains. I like to go camping up in a beautiful lake, Brainerd Lake, in the high Rockies. This lake is surrounded by majestic peaks and original growth forest. There's no higher energy place that I've ever been to, but there are high energy places around the globe. We all were designed to live connected to nature. Now, since the invention of money, and now with the invention of the internet, we have lost contact with that natural world. The world of business has taken us away from home, going to work, and working in an office in an artificial power structure called a hierarchy of management. I at one time went to work for the richest company in the world, AT&T. Not the AT&T you know about now, they just bought the name. But the original AT&T system that was found by the inventor of the telephone, Alexander Bell. The first day I went to work there, I got a call from a Mountain Bell technician friend of mine congratulating me on achieving employment in getting the most secure job in the world. 13 years later, I left that job because the company was collapsing. So I've seen companies come and go, and they'll continue to come and go. They're based upon hierarchies of egotistic domination. So there is no company that is going to survive long term. Now we have invented something that allows people to actually work without a company structure. At one point in Bell Labs, I gave a talk called The Slaying of the Priests. And I talked about the withering away of hierarchies and the establishment of networked societies. So we have now we have the networking, but it's been employed within the hierarchies. This coronavirus has forced people to stay home, and we are now networking with each other with technology. So my biggest hope is that while we do that, we will learn to wither away the hierarchies and find ways to live naturally on this planet as the first peoples did. Winston Churchill said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." I have been through 3 market crashes. The first day I day traded was the crash of '87. And then I went through the crash of 2007, 2008. And now we're in another crash. I've been shot at, folded, mutilated, and spindled. And throughout this, I've learned how to cope with this kind of stress and chaos. And my recipe is very simple. Take it one day at a time. My second guidance is a mantra I've taught my grandkids and my kids. If, it's only 10 words, 10 two-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. So the first thing I'll say is it matters very much what you do when you first wake up in the morning. When you first wake up, you are returning to consciousness after being unconscious. And as you open your eyes, as I open my eyes, I realize I'm still alive. Great. I have one more day. Let me use it wisely. And then the next thing I do after I get up and clean myself up is I sit down with a cup of coffee and I read a meditation. Right now I'm reading the book called Embers by Richard Wagamese. Richard Wagamese is a Canadian Ojibwe author who has written some incredible books. Story of his life is in his book, A Native Life. But he explains in a very fascinating detail how the Ojibways learned to live and how they lived before the white man came and destroyed their natural-based society. And then he wound up working in the publishing business, getting a regular city job. And then as he retired, he started writing books. A wonderful writer. I'd compare his writing style to that of Hemingway. He has a great way of saying things. But the important thing is, he writes about his morning practice. In his morning practice, he describes doing things that I've done for many years. He talks about going for a walk with his dog. And where he lived, he talks about walking out of the housing area, going up the hill, and switching to the natural world. I never thought about it that clearly, but that's what I've done for years. I get up in the morning, and I'm an early riser. My wife is still in bed, but I take the dogs and I go for a walk. I like to get up and go for a walk right before sunrise. Richard Wagmes writes that the Ojibwe even had a name for the color of the sky as it switches from night to day. At the right time, you can see that beautiful blue fading to pink as the sun is starting to rise. It's still below the horizon. But at that time, you can see the stars, the moon, and there's enough light to see all the trees, the grass, the clouds, the natural world. That's when I like to walk, and frequently I'll sing a song. My favorite song on my morning walks is "Morning Has Broken" and "How Great Thou Art." Because what I realized at that time is I am a creature of an almighty creator. And he meant me to be on this earth to do something. Not to abuse others, not to take advantage of them, but to do something to move closer to Creator. I like the word creator. Some people use God, some people use the source. But there is no doubt that our personal energy field, the essential essence that makes us who we are, is a part of God's creation. I like to reconnect with that before I come back to my office, back to the artificial world of business, in the super artificial world of the internet. If I ground myself properly each morning, I can handle whatever is coming. I like to realize when I do that I am mortal. I once, in 1999, slipped on a roof, fell, not off the roof, but onto the roof, and the impact ripped a cyst loose on my kidney. I bled into my gut, and I wound up in the hospital for a week. Doctors gathered at my foot and muttered. 5 doctors muttered about what to do with me. They couldn't open me up. I was bleeding into my gut. They'd never find the bleeder before I bled out. They put blood clot prevention leggings on me to keep squeezing my legs to prevent a blood clot. The night of the 5th of December, 1999, I woke up one night and the room was gone. There was nothing but stars. And right behind me, back here, I could feel my soul group, my father, my aunt, and many others who had passed on, and they are asking, do you want to come? And I said, whoa, wait, no, I'm not done yet. The next day I forced myself out of bed. It was 3 feet to the bathroom, and I crawled to the bathroom. I realized if it's to be, it's up to me. If I'm not going to die, I have to will myself out of here. So I did. After 3 days, they sent me home, and I spent the next 6 weeks just sitting on my couch, rebuilding my blood. I'd lost half my blood into my gut. My hematocrit was 14, and I just took lots of iron. But since then, I've counted each precious day. Today, it has been 20 years, 3 months, and 17 extra days I've had. And I thank the Creator for those extra days. And I request that many days more. And if I can't have that many days more, just give me one more, because I am not done yet. So that's the mental attitude that I approach life. If you look back in history, during periods of great stress in the world, in the Black Plague, the survivors have had the attitude that they will survive, they will overcome, and they will see this through. They will not yield to fear. As long as you can breathe, as long as you can stand up, as long as you can do something. Now, I am a creative person. When you create anything, you are doing the same thing as the Creator that created your life. So I highly encourage everyone to look at this situation as an opportunity, not as a problem. This is an immense opportunity. There are many things you can do. Yes, we have to protect ourselves from the virus, but there are many things that can be done. Simple example, we can't get masks to go to the grocery store. I have a mask that an allergist prescribed to me. It's a 10 micron filtered mask because I am subject to minute smoke particles. My body reacts to them by putting me to sleep. We had a forest fire miles and miles away, and it kept doing that to me. That's when my allergist figured this out. But this mask is made to filter tiny particles. All those hazmat suits you see people wearing and the masks they're wearing are simply filters. Now, my mask has a 10 micron filter. Online, I found 5 micron filter material. I've ordered it. When I get it from Amazon, I'm going to sew up some masks. This is something all of you could be out there doing. Make masks for yourself. Make masks for each other. Get some nitrile gloves. When you go shopping, wear gloves. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and godliness is next to living. These are huge opportunities in changing how we operate our schools, our society. There are many things that can be done. So don't just sit and cower. You should not be done. You should not be giving up. The government may help some, but you need to take the attitude that if it's to be, it's up to me. But take that calming walk in the morning. Connect with your Creator. Connect with who you are. And just be you. If you behave as the creation that God made you to be, we'll be okay. So that's my response and a little bit of advice on how to deal with this crisis. Thank you for listening. You have a good day, and take care of yourself and those around you.